Welcome to the Pivot. Toi Sweeney, a best-selling author, an award-winning fashion stylist, and the founder of the Well Dressed brand. All right. Welcome back to The Pivot with Stephanie Humphrey, where we talk about how to make a transition, whatever that looks like in your life, through a job, heading back to school, leaving a relationship, just doing something different and what that journey might look like. I'm trying to help y'all through it. I've been through it myself. I did a TEDx that talked all about my transition from a career in engineering to a career in media. And now we talk about all of the things that go into that with some of my dear friends and professionals that are helping me help you. And today on The Pivot, I would love to welcome in one of my oldest and dearest friends in the whole wide world, Toi Sweeney, in the building. Toi Sweeney is a brand image expert, a best-selling author, an award-winning fashion stylist, and the founder of the Well Dressed brand. Toi, thank you so much for being on The Pivot.
Yay. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited to be here. You know, it's always a good time when I get to spend time with you. So let's go.
Always a good time. So we're going to talk about image because that's your jam. Does your look reflect your next step as you're pivoting, as you're thinking about the next part of your life and your journey? Are you ready? Visually to make that happen. And I got to tell the story. I always have to tell this story. So, you see me right now. If you're watching this on Roland streaming platform on the Black Star Network, you can see me clearly in a FAMU t-shirt. I'm repping my HBCU today. FAMU 1887 all day long, Rattler for life, yada, yada, yada. And, I like to think I know how to dress, and I like to think that, I can put a little something together when necessary.
You can.
But there's a difference. There's just a difference when a professional helps you understand why things go together, why they're important, how to coordinate different pieces of your clothing to tell a story about your brand. So a few years ago, it's been a while now, well before pandemic, I had a big interview with an agent at a larger agency in New York. I was ready to get to that next level. I was ready to, take off and elevate and all that good stuff. And I was very nervous about the idea of this interview with this person. I really wanted to get with this agent. And it's so funny. I don't even remember the name of the agency at this point. Crazy. I'm like, if I saw the name of it, I would know it, but I wouldn't call them out anyway. But it was a very big agency in New York. And I was like, this is going to be the thing that I need to get me to that next level, to get the national television appearances and all those different things. And I asked Toi for her help. Of course, I was like, this is the biggest moment of my life so far. This is the thing, the pivot that's going to make it all happen. I need you to help me put together a look that's going to dazzle these people and make them immediately fall in love with me. And we put together this, I hate to even call it an outfit because it was a look.
Oh, honey, it was
and
a look.
And it's centered around this coat. And this coat that I believe we found it at Nordstrom, and it was just chef's kiss, this coat, because underneath it wasn't fancy. It was just a sort of an Angora cashmere kind of sweater, just gray, and a pair of black pants, straight black pants, cute little pair of snakeskin shoes. But this coat was just so remarkable. And I can remember getting up there and I felt amazing. And I get into this meeting with this woman at this agency, and literally the entire time, she's just like, that coat is great. Wow, that coat is so great. Wow, that coat is really, where did you get that? And right away I knew I had her, and I didn't even have to do anything. I don't even know how much we talked about like what I did or what I had done or what I even want to do with this agency. She was just so mesmerized. She was literally mesmerized. And I say that without a trace
Yeah.
of exaggeration. She was literally mesmerized by
Yeah.
how chic and
Mhm.
and well put together I looked that day, that she just kept talking about the coat. It was like I said, I kind of walked in and I just let the coat do the work. And it was then that I understood the
Yeah.
importance of image and how it relates to your brand and that whole thing. Talk to us about why image is important.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love that story so much because it lends itself to 100% of everything that I talk about, everything that's in my book, like everything that encompasses the well-dressed brand, right? Which is number one, what do you want to say? You know, and does where you're going align with how you're showing up? And what I love about that story the most is that we always start with, right, Stephanie, again, what do you want to say? Well, of course, you want to be memorable, right? And so you're going to be memorable because of that coat. All she could think about was that coat is great, which translates into Stephanie's great, which translated into that coat was exceptional, which also was Stephanie's exceptional. And that was it. So, when you're in this cast of people, so to speak, this lineup or whatever it was that she needed to do to make a decision about bringing you on into the agency, I was so excited about how you were going to stand out and how you did stand out. And so I love that story. We have probably about 3 of those stories from just working together over the years, but that one definitely is one of my favorite. And so image is obviously, as you've demonstrated from the story, important because it gives you the power to control the narrative. She didn't get to make any assumptions. You walked in, you shut it down, and you were ready to go. And the other thing too is that I love image so much, and the reason that it's so powerful is that it impacts your career, as we talked about. It impacts your business. It impacts your relationships. It really is such an exceptional nonverbal way to stand in your power and control the outcome. Like, who gets to do that? It lends itself to the greatest story that's ever been written, that is you. And I think that most people, when you talk about image, they want to talk about confidence and all of these things. I don't share the world's opinion on confidence at all, because I feel like confidence is like a byproduct of you having a personal brand and a brand image that is so exceptional that people don't have a choice but to follow your lead. That's it, period. So, wow. I love that story. The other thing too is that image is so important because it really is about the meaning that you give the different items in your closet when we talk about wardrobe, which I'm sure we're going to talk about later, but it really is all encompassing. It really is all encompassing. So when you're talking about your image, you're talking about your vision, what you stand for, what you don't stand for, where you're going, all of these things, it all comes back to your appearance. And so I was thinking, as you were talking about, I'm reading the book of 48 Laws of Power today. And I was really surprised in a book such as this, that he spent a whole chapter talking about appearance, which is the same as image, and how powerful it is and how strategic it can be. And again, going back into, it's the most powerful nonverbal thing that you can do, because we've all done it. The moment you meet someone, the moment you hear their name, what's the first thing we all do? We head right on over to Google. We hit Google image, we hit Google video, we hit all the things to learn all of that. And what happens is that something happens. You have about 8 seconds. And then that time, someone's deciding if you are you really an expert? Are you beautiful? Do they find you attractive? Do they think that you're not attractive? Are you telling the truth? Are you not telling the truth? And it doesn't matter. It's their opinion, and that becomes the reality. And so there's so many 1,000 things that I can go on about, but those are kind of the top of mind things that really hone into why your image is so important. And so if you are someone who wants to control the narrative, then you have to control your image.
The 54th NAACP Image Awards is airing live on February 25th, honoring outstanding performances in film, television, theater, music, and literature. But this year, Roland Martin Unfiltered is nominated for Outstanding News or Information Series or Special. To vote, head to NAACPImageAwards.net, scroll down to Outstanding News/Information Series, select the category. You have to click on hashtag Roland Martin Unfiltered Black Votes Matter Election Night Coverage. To submit your vote, you will need an email. Only one vote allowed per email. Voting ends on February 10th at 9 p.m. Vote today.
People tend to trivialize clothing and trivialize the idea of fashion and think that it's this frivolous thing that only people who are image obsessed care about, and only people who are shallow care about. Oh, I don't care about what I wear because it doesn't make a difference. People should just want to know me for me and all. And you know, in a perfect world, that would be great. However, we live in this world, on this planet, in this country, in this society, where that type of thing actually does count and
Absolutely.
does make a difference. And I think, you know, especially for somebody in the middle of making some sort of transition, it's going to make a huge difference because you're going to be out there. You're going to be putting yourself out there in a different kind of way. You're going to need to build up a new audience potentially, or new clients or new customers, or whatever the case might be in your transition. You're doing something different. So your image is going to have to reflect that. If it doesn't already. I mean, maybe you just fly already and you all put together. Most of us aren't, though, because most of us really haven't put enough thought into what we want to say about ourselves through how we look to even start that process. So how do we assess what our current image says about us? Because maybe we do. We know we're about to make this big change, and we need to take a look at what we got going on now to see what we need to do. How do we start doing that assessment?
Well, I think that the first thing that I would say is probably not what most people would say. Most people would probably tell you to ask your friends and your family, don't do that, because they love you. They're not going to lie to you. I mean, you know, you have to sometimes brutally, you have to consider the source, right? And so you can't ask them because they love you and they're going to be like, you look so great.
Right.
You know, you walk down the street and you're just like, well, I was getting a lot of compliments. And so because people respond to things that are different, you know, and different is better than being better. So that's one thing is, so look at what you're doing. Are you doing what everybody else is doing? But first, before you do any of that, what I want you to do is sit down and look at your goals. Look at what you need to accomplish that day. If you're jumping on, you know, Zooms for meetings or calls or meeting clients or whatever, social media posts, going on live, whatever your schedule is for that day, look at that and then go think about what do you want to say. Look at your goals for the month. Look at what you're planning to accomplish that year. I think we have like 6 more months before the year is over. You know, right? And so when you think about what do you want to say, most people say, I want to be approachable. I want to be fashionable. I want to be whatever. Does what you've been wearing, does that reflect where you're going? Does it reflect what you want to say? Right. And so the way that you do that is you have to look at the colors that you're wearing. I talk about that in my book, Secrets of a Well-Dressed Brand. I go all into the color. So let me give you a quick example. So let's say tomorrow, you know, we're going back to Stephanie's example. You're meeting with this big agency and you say, well, I'm going to sell them this product. You know, let's pretend that it's something like that. I really want to get them, you know, to co-sign on this product line I'm trying to launch. Okay. So if it's something like that, then perhaps you want to wear blue because blue is the color of trust, you know, and so what you want to do is you want to be able to go in and you want to be able to build trust. If you're saying, no, this product is so different and I'm so different that I want them to think that I'm creative and innovative, then you want to wear yellow or you want to wear orange or something like that. If you're going and let's say you're doing something for a children's hospital, and you're just like, okay, I love the color red. You know, I love the color red, you know, but red is all about being ambitious and it's about determination. And so when you're trying to raise money for something that you deeply care about, that may not be the right color for you to wear that day. And so you want to think about things like that. Think about UPS, how their color is brown. Think about how Apple is using white, right? And that sea of black headphones, so you want to consider all of these things. You have to be so intentional. It really is not about an outfit. It really is not. It's about you being intentional about your goals, about what it is that you want to say, about your mission, your vision. Everything has to come into alignment. So I know it sounds like a lot to think about, but it could be done in a split second by just going, okay, what do I typically wear? Does that make sense for what I'm trying to accomplish? Okay, now we might need to make a change if the answer is no.
Right. Right. It's a lot to think about. It is. And we don't want anybody to get overwhelmed. But the idea that you're just going to go into a store and ask the salesperson on the floor, like, hey, make me look good is just not realistic. And is not a good strategy for when you are trying to level up your image for that next part of your journey. You talk about this in your book and on your website as a part of the Well-Dressed brand, using your wardrobe as a business strategy. What does that mean?
So again, it's going back to you being really, really intentional. I always say that you can always tell when somebody's my client because they walk in a room and they just show up and shut it all the way down. And so like all the way, period. Because that's what you have to do. But I'm also working with mostly C-suite executives. They can't afford to make a mistake, and so everything in your closet is brand right. And so that's what that means. And so that means that you are really intentional. You have a section of your closet for every part of your life. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to have this huge walk-in closet. I just moved to New York. I have 0 closet space. So, but you have a section that is for your workout things because maybe fitness is a part of your lifestyle. You have a section that you wear when you jump on Zoom calls, maybe with clients or potential whatever. You have a section that you wear when you do your podcast. You have a section that you wear when you're invited. You just have different things. Right. Whether it's parent-teacher conference, whether it's dropping the kids off, every aspect of your life is super intentional. And it doesn't mean, again, it's not about being fancy. It's not about little outfits. It's about you using the color of psychology, utilizing items that makes sense for your wardrobe. It doesn't make sense for me I love a strappy sandal. It does not make sense, and I'm only 5'3". It does not make sense for me to, wear 6-inch strappy sandals for every part of my life. Like, it doesn't make sense. And so I'm not one that you would typically find in sneakers, but yes, I have a pair or two. So love my heels, for when I do need to run errands or when I do need to go out and run or walk or whatever I'm doing that day. And so it's about really making sure that your closet is brand right, being intentional. Again, looking at what it is that we're trying to accomplish, because every decision that you make is either getting you closer to your goal or it's bringing you further away.
Right.
We're running towards greatness, so we don't have time to be making mistakes at all.
Right. You want to make it so that you don't have to think about it. And you know that this is the stuff that I wear when it's time to do this. This is the stuff that I wear when it's time to do this. Kind of not quite capsule, but just segmented and compartmentalized so that you don't have to think about it, but you know that you're going to show up as your best self every single time.
Well, it is a capsule. It is a capsule, but what makes it different from the capsule is that you're being intentional in a different way. Whereas with a capsule wardrobe, you're really going, okay, here is 72 or 100 items that I'm going to have in my closet, and you're kind of doing the same things, but I'm being more strategic about colors. Instead of you having 20 colors or just all colors, I always suggest that my clients narrow it down to 6, because most of us can wear about 30. So narrow it down to 6. You have like 3 neutrals and 3 colors that you're going to wear. So you do your white, black, whatever. You do your navy, your brown, ivory, those are your neutrals, your white and black. And then you pop in, 3 more colors that you love. So you do that. And so with a capsule wardrobe, you go, okay, well, I have 3 sweaters. And so, again, it's not as intentional. I have 3 sweaters. I'm going to buy this one, so I have to get rid of one because I'm only allowed to have 3. This is not so much about the numbers, even though I do encourage you to scale it back, because what's going to happen is that you're going to you'll experience a lot of decision fatigue if you have too many options, especially if you're a female.
Yes.
We have too many items and too many things. So by doing a brand right or a capsule closet, it really helps to cut down. The bigger thing, Stephanie, is something that we all love. I wish I had like a little cha-ching, is that by having a brand right closet, you're going to spend less money so that you're not just going out buying random things, and having to try them on because, you don't know what your style is. And so You're out there spending all this money. You looking in your closet, there's 1,000 items in there. You don't know, you don't have anything to wear. So then now you're going back at like, it's this hamster wheel. We're trying to cease all of that. It's done. Having a brand right closet that reflects your personal brand will cut down on all of those things. And so then you're being intentional. Then you have this strategy. Strategy without vision is going to make you go all the way backwards. It's sending you all the way back to ground zero. And we are completely about moving forward. No one has time for that.
Folks, don't forget, you can vote for us for the NAACP Image Award. That's right. Here's what you do. You go to vote.naacpimageawards.net. Scroll down to the category Outstanding News, Information, Series, or Special. Select that category. Then what you do is scroll to Roland Martin Unfiltered, Black Votes Matter Election Night Coverage. Click on Vote. You can then scroll back to the other categories as well. You can register your vote with the email of your choice. You can actually use more than one email if you want. Only one vote is allowed per email address. Then confirm that you're not a robot. Voting ends February 10th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Let's go ahead and bring this home. We're the only Black-owned media company that actually got nominated for an Image Award.
When do we actually know that we may need to upgrade, or because I think some people do get stuck maybe in those time frames or eras when they felt their best or they felt they looked their best. And I mean, I'm just keeping it all the way real. We all know that one person that still dresses like it is 1987 because maybe that was the time when they was popping, or still dresses like it's 1992 and is not necessarily self-aware enough to see that it is time for an update. What could somebody like that do, or what could you tell someone like that if you chose to be that friend that corrects in love? How would somebody recognize that it was time to make that update?
Well, most people, outside, to your point, they live in a certain decade, right? Mm-hmm. But so there's that. And you can't tell someone who's doing that they're doing that, because they're going to say, well, everything comes back around, right? So then part 2 is that they may be trendy. They're walking around. We all have that friend and they're wearing way too many trends. They got the flare jeans with the clear shoes, with the fringe, with the, with the crop top, it's all of it, right? And so what you want to do is make sure that you strive for relevance, not trends. Trends go in and out, but you want to be relevant. And so that is what you want to strive for. And so where most of us make mistakes, to be honest, is, if they're not making the mistakes with their shoes because they're such a push to be comfortable, and women just don't really, some of us haven't figured out how to quite do that yet. So it's things like that. Eyebrows is another thing, is that, we're still wearing like the 90s super skin, no, make sure that you're relevant. That's one of the things that I look at my clients. I look at your hair, I look at your makeup. I say, you know what? Your hair looks great, but to make it more relevant,
I want to just stop you and emphasize that, because we've been talking a lot about wardrobe as your business strategy, but it's the entire package. It is haircut. It is the eyebrow. It is the glasses frame. It is the nails. It is all of those different things that may be due for a refresh, if you will. I mean, I don't want anybody to feel like they have to literally toss out their entire closet, but I do want people to seriously consider if it's time for a refresh. And is there any particular, and there may not be, and if the answer is no, it's no, but is there any particular sort of time frame that people should be looking to do something like this, like every 10 years or every 5 years or how often should people be looking to kind of reassess whether or not a refresh is necessary?
That's a good question. So 3 to 5 years, every 3 to 5 years, you want to be looking at your hair, your makeup, your glasses. Because that's about the time, even if you buy the hottest boots of the season right now, you're probably going to be a little bit sick of them by the time, if you're somebody who's a little bit more trend right, you'll be sick of them probably in 3 years for sure. But you also may just next year be like, I wore those so much last year, that I can't stand to look at them again. But most of us is going to be about 3 to 5 years. You should be going, when was the last time I got new headshots? When was the last time I got new glasses? If you're someone that wears your glasses all the time, then you going to your local, eye doctor to get more expensive glasses may not be the thing for you unless you're going to that's going to become your signature, and that's a whole nother conversation about creating your signature style. But that's why everyone's going on to Zlul, and there's a whole bunch of Black owned eyeglass businesses too that people are just really taking hold of, because you can get 5 pair, at the same price that you would normally get, 1 pair, so things like that, 3 to 5 years, again, headshots, glasses, nail shape. That's another one that people really tend to forget. I love a square, but everybody's doing oval or stiletto right now. That might be a little bit more relevant. So you don't have to, especially if you're a professional, you may not show up with the 7-inch coffin-shaped nails. Right. I don't know how people even, wipe their butts with those things, but I don't know. But you may just go, oh, you know what? Instead of me doing square, maybe I'll try round or something in between that's going to be a little bit more relevant, Right. All of those kind of things, your hair. Maybe you put a gloss on. Again, like you said, you're not throwing out your whole closet. It's really about those small tweaks to just make you relevant. What I would recommend, which is the magic pill, is if you spend a good amount on your clothing, you're happy with, you have the right blazers, the right this and that, then I would just suggest every season updating your accessories.
Oh, okay.
Because
that's easy enough.
Yeah, because you just a new handbag, and then shop backwards, right? So instead of doing what were taught to do growing up, put together the outfit, is start with a great pair of shoes or boots or whatever your kicks, whatever it is that you love, start with that and then work up, as opposed to the other way around. Because oftentimes a shoe is the most difficult part to find.
Yep.
So start with that and then reverse engineer it and then end up at the top, so that everything kind of makes sense.
I tend to do that, especially if I'm traveling. I'm like, I need the shoe that's going to go with the most things and is going to work in the most situations. And, and even when I'm just looking to get dressed during the day, I'm like, what shoe am I going to wear? Because that's going to determine what everything else that goes on and the look. So yeah, that's a really good tip.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
we know? Well, first of all, what does a professional offer that's different than what I could go do myself or just ask the salesperson on the retail floor to do for me? And what should we be looking for in that professional?
Well, I think so. There's a couple things. So when you're going into just a random retail store, they are the true definition of a stylist, which is just that somebody who puts outfits together. Right. And so if you are somebody who just needs somebody to put an outfit together, then that may be the person for you. When you get to a fashion stylist, that's a person that's going to make you a little bit more relevant, probably a little bit more trendy. You want to be mindful that unless it's somebody where you absolutely love their style, because most fashion stylists tend to put you in something that they like as opposed to what's the right thing for you. And then you have an image consultant. So the fashion stylist is a person that knows how, but they may not always know why they're putting those things to you. An image consultant is somebody who knows they know the rules, they know why, but they may be a little funky on the how. I can always tell when somebody is using an image consultant because when I look at that image consultant's clients, all I see are rules. It's like the chunky necklace, the so-and-so earring, the shirt off the shoulder with the jeans with the roll at the end. Like it's a formula. Right. And then in a stylist, it's just like it's trend, look editorial. And so, that may not lend itself to you, especially if you are a professional or an expert in your field. And so what I do is I'm both. I'm an image consultant and a fashion stylist, but I'm looking at everything from a branding perspective. And so all I care about is what you are trying to execute. It's about execution. And what do you want to say? It's about shutting out all of the noise. And so, a perfect example is I was working with, I used to work at QVC as a style director, and I used to, this, and I had the opportunity to help all 30 program hosts. And I was working with one in particular one day, and she, is exceptional. She had, she's a great sense of style. And so I was in the store before she arrived. So we were going to try some things on, and I saw this jacket. And I said, oh, she would love that, but I didn't choose the jacket. And so as she walked into the fitting room where I already had everything laid out for her, she grabbed the jacket. And she said, why didn't you choose this jacket? I love this jacket. And I said, I didn't choose that jacket because although you love that jacket, what I've learned, about your brand image is that you are of a certain age, and it not really is about age, but it kind of is. It really is more about the style. Right. So even though I'm using the word age, just hear me out. It's about the style. There are certain styles that you really only can wear if you're 20 or if you're 70. And if you are in between that, you will look very dated or inappropriate. Right. And so I said, okay, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So I let her put the jacket on. And then I said, okay. I said, now put this jacket on, the one I chose for you. And I said, do you see how you look so much younger in this jacket? Because it's relevant. That one is so classic that it's dating you. And if you were 20, you'd look like money, but because you're over 40, it's too, we need to find something that's more relevant. So I found the same thing in a different texture. So we're going to go leather as opposed to tweed, like whatever. Right. And so it's knowing those things. And so that's kind of the stages and the difference between a fashion stylist and image consultant and then somebody like me, who's a brand image strategist, who's looking through the eye of everything of where you're going and what you're trying to accomplish, how you can show up and shut it down and taking no prisoners.
Fantastic. Final question. Where can someone start? If they were like, okay, I listened to Toi, I got to get myself together. My budget's not huge, but maybe I can invest in 3 things right now, be it clothing, accessory, hair, like whatever those 3 things are, I can only do 3 to start that process of updating my look for this next period in my life. What 3 things would you, I know it's like such a loaded question because it could be like any 3 things. What 3 things would you suggest?
It can't be. It has to be your accessories because, and the reason that I say that is because real talk, You can go to Target right now and get a pair of jeans, and no one would really know if they're not $300, $800 jeans, right?
True.
You know, if you're someone who's savvy, you can go to Goodwill right now and get a really good fabric, wool, whatever, cashmere blazer that they don't even make anymore. Get it tailored, and it can look like $1,000, out $2,000, $3,000 Alexander McQueen, like whatever. It can look like money, but you can't fake really unless it's a super good knockoff. You can't really fake your accessories. And so what I'm saying is just that you can throw on a monochromatic black, ivory, navy, whatever outfit, yellow, orange, whatever you want. But if your accessories, if you're carrying that exceptional bag, if you're wearing exceptional shoes, if your glasses are on point, your net, like all those things, if your accessories are relevant and where they're supposed to be, then that tells the story so quickly at such an affordable price. So I would say make sure that your accessories are what you're investing in. If you're like, I can't get another thing right now, then dress in monochromatic, pop your accessories on, and then call it a day. That's it. Make sure that your hair is relevant and your nails are relevant.
Done and done. Easy enough. Start with the accessories. You don't have to do a lot, but you really do have to put some time and some thought into where you see yourself going with this new transition in your life. It's super exciting as well. And use it as the exciting change that it is. Feed off of that energy and get excited about the idea that change can be good. Because I think too, some people are holding on to, we talked about the fact that they're stuck in these eras and these different decades, but I think sometimes that change can be scary for a lot of people as well.
Absolutely.
So, we want people to embrace that idea. You're making this huge pivot anyway. So sort of embrace everything that goes along with it and just lean in to the idea that small changes make a big difference. Start with those accessories. Tailoring is a must, and it is head to toe. It's not just your clothing. You want to look at your overall image from head to toe to see where things could get a little bit better. Toi Sweeney, thank you so much. This was awesome. You can follow Toi all around the web at Toi Sweeney. Please check out her website at toisweeney.com. I believe you are taking new clients, right?
Always.
Listen, I'm telling y'all, you need a Toi Sweeney in your life. She has helped me for years to prepare for my most important events. I don't trust anybody else with that, honor that I consider it to be, because I know how I want to look. I know how I want to feel. I know what sort of impression I want to make. And I know that Toi can help me do that. So it really is an investment in you. And especially if you're looking to make a change and head to that next level, a professional is really going to help you get there a lot more quickly, I think, than you just trying to head to a store and figure it out on your own. So hit Toi Sweeney up at toisweeney.com, enlist her services. You will not regret it. Toi, my friend, I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for watching The Pivot with Stephanie Humphrey. Stay tuned for the next episode soon. And thanks for watching.